Hello, welcome to Statecraft IAS and Social Perspectives Sociology in Newspaper series. In this series, we shall discuss daily news articles in sociological perspective and revise relevant sociology related UPSC mains concepts with the help of newspaper on daily basis. In today's video, we have an article talking about need to increase marriageable age of girls to 21 years. It will help stop exploitation, say participants at meetings. Now this particular article can be linked to family and kinship chapter in our syllabus. Family and kinship, also participation of women, also population dynamics, also social change chapters in our syllabus. Now this article says, seeking higher marriageable age, the women in the Lado Panchayats broadly argued that their studies were adversely impacted due to early marriage. Most of them were of the view that marriage at an early age also led to physical, mental and social exploitation. Now apart from this exploitation, what does early marriage do is, early marriages, they give opportunity for study. This study will result in vertical mobility of women and family as a whole. In status and mobility chapter, we have this vertical mobility concept. Apart from that, CCNS survey says that studied women can bring in more nutrition to the family. Health and nutrition is increased. That means social status of family is increased, health and nutrition of children is increased if women are studied in the family. With that increased health and nutrition of children, education can be continued and concentrated, because this health and nutrition is being supplanted by more income. As women have already studied, that leads to more income, and this more income plus health and nutrition will give rise to better education. With that better education, more economic opportunities, better livelihoods of families and children. If we stop early marriages, if early marriages are stopped, better livelihoods of children, which further give rise to late marriages or stopping early marriages, because while going in the pursuit of better livelihoods, we often tend to delay our marriages because we are busy in making our lives, we are busy in studying, or we are busy in finding employment, etc. So that late marriages again gives rise to better study of the individuals or women in that particular family, will give rise to vertical mobility, again will give rise to health and nutrition of children, education, economic opportunities, better livelihood. So this is a positive spiral, which is the outcome of late marriages to women. It is not just about better rights to women, or better status to women, or giving more importance to women, or equality. Apart from equality, rights, status, privileges, etc. It has some social significance in this particular dimension, because it is leading in better health, better education and better social status. That's why education for women is important even in social perspective also, because Durkheim says it is because of better opportunities. That means equality of opportunity, social conflict can be avoided. Also, how we can link this to particular social change chapter, because with the education to women, health and nutrition is being improved, education to children is being improved, economic opportunities are being created. So as a whole, one family is being lifted up, it is being moved to higher echelons of the society. If every particular woman is married late and is given opportunity to study and better educated, then whole society develops, then that is nothing but social change. So in that particular aspect, this late marriages or stopping early marriages is highly significant in social perspective. Now moving on, in the next article we have something saying about golden arm. See, Indian sportspersons showed self-belief at the Olympics to return with a record tally. The article says Neeraj's winning effort of 87.58 meters capped the finest ever performance by Indian sportspersons in the quadrennial global stage. India won 7 medals. See, it just won 7 medals, 1 gold, 2 silvers and 4 bronzes, and cumulatively edged past the previous best of 6. Our previous best was 6. That was in London Olympics in 2012. So with these 7 medals, we are standing at 48th position, and we are terming this as the best ever performance of India in Olympics. See, if we look into further, among the rest, it was status quo as the United States of America and China led the medals tally with host Japan and Great Britain following, while India was placed 48th in the table. That means USA and China leading is a status quo. That means they are doing this continuously. They are standing in first and second positions. So if you try to analyze this particular article in social perspective and try to answer why USA and China do it always and consistently, effortlessly, to stand in first and second positions, and why can't India stand or get past even 40s in those positions. India is such a huge country, it has huge diversity, it has huge background, it has huge cultural significance with the sports, it has great connection with the sports. We have athletics, like javelin throw, horse riding, equestrian, etc., horse riding, and this wrestling. All these things we have since ages, because all these things were discussed even in Mahabharata. So connection with sports has been in our culture. Even then, with such huge population, with such huge diversity, with such huge backgrounds, with such large land area, we are unable to get medals in Olympics. While a small country which lies between Italy, if this is Italy, there is a small country here known as San Marino. It has a population of 32,000, which is not even the half of the population of the small town in India. It has bagged a gold in shooting in this Olympics itself in Tokyo. So even if that such small countries can do and bag goals, why such a country as large as India is unable to do it consistently? So it has some social significance to study, because Amartya Sen says and talks about participation. In his participation theory, he says that people tend to participate in other events or extracurricular activities other than acquisition of resources. People tend to participate in activities other than acquisition of resources needed to live only when they have stable income to substitute their livelihoods or to look after their livelihoods. Only when their income is stable, only when their health is stable, only when they have better status in society, better social status or better social capital, only then they tend to participate in other activities like sports, etc., according to Amartya Sen. Now see, that is why these USA and China are not only first and second in Olympic medals, but they are also first and second in terms of their GDP or in terms of their economies, right? So because of that reason, because of that social reason, they are able to participate in many sporting events, and they have better infrastructure compared to other countries, better sporting infrastructure, Now in India, if you see, we hardly have any sporting infrastructure in the country, apart from this Abhinav Bindra Foundation or Pullela Gopichand Badminton Academy in Hyderabad. Apart from some wrestling avenues in Haryana, we hardly have any sporting infrastructure. It is nowadays that sports university is being established in the northeast India, etc. Otherwise, India hardly has any sporting ecology or sporting ecosystem in the country, because we are struggling even to make our livelihoods, so we don't have enough time and space to participate in sports, etc. So that's why, because of that social background, because of that social significance, India is unable to bag many medals in major events like Olympics or World Championships, etc. So this is what the social theory behind India bagging less medals in Olympics. So that's all we have for today. If you like the content, please like, share and subscribe to Statecraft IAS. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.